Hi guys, this is Mrs. Novello in the Expressive Arts Room, and this is part 3 of how to weave onto a CD. Now we've already created our loom, we began weaving our first color yarn, and I'm about all done with weaving my first yarn. So I'm just going to show you how to connect the next color of yarn to your pre-existing yarn. So again, I'm on the front side of the CD. You can see how nicely this yarn, orange yarn, wove. And then all I'm going to do is get my next color. Now you'll have to use the color yarn that you have chosen in your yarn planner and cut that about 24 inches, 2 feet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect that yarn from my plastic needle. I'm simply going to connect my white yarn to my orange yarn by tying a double knot. And what I don't want to worry about is I don't want to worry about the frays of the knot showing, because when I weave with this orange yarn, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover up the strays, the frays, so that they don't show. Right now I'm just going to trim them down. I don't want to cut them too close to the knot, just in case the knot that I created isn't as secure as it needs to be. So now what I'm going to do, now that I've connected the white yarn with the orange yarn, I'm going to find the end of my white yarn. Again, I'm going to fold that yarn in half to streamline the threading through the eye hole process. Once it's threaded, I'm going to tie that into a single knot, and then I can continue to weave where I left off. So you can see that in this last warp I was under. Now I'm going to continue weaving, doing my over-under process. And as I do that, the color, the white color, has a nice striking contrast to the bright orange. So not only do I want to choose colors that'll contrast, but also consider the texture of the yarn. The orange is nice and smooth and round, and the white is a little bit more rigid. It has some shine to it, and so not only will the color contrast, but the texture and the shape and design will contrast. So when you're selecting your yarn, try to select yarns that not only contrast in color, but contrast in shape, texture, and design. And when you weave them together, each individual section of color will stand out on its own. So now I'm at that part where I had my threads of my previous yarn, my knot, and now I'm just going to tuck them under, and I can do that using my hands. I can use my lacing needle to guide that under, but I'm just going to tuck those tails underneath my weaving, and gradually it'll get completely covered up with my yarn. So I'm going to continue this process now with my 2 other colored yarns, and if I still have CD showing, I'm going to repeat that color pattern process until my entire CD is woven.